Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Prachana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prachana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we will be reading, Fridays we will be reading from Srila Prabhupada's Nectar book. So this, let's see, if you've got the book, we're on number 49, volume 3, number 49. Srila Prabhupada tells short stories. Human life means somebody is being killed, so he should be immediately warned, thinking, worried, oh, my turn is coming, let me go away. There is one story in this connection. Not stories, these are facts, Srila says. A hunter spread his net. Some little birds fell down from the nest, and they are crying. They are crying. So when the father and mother came, they saw their children in danger. They're caught by the net by the hunter. So the mother immediately jumped over it to save the children, and she was also captured. Then the father saw, now if I go to save them, I will be captured. Let me go away. Let me take sannyas. That's all. That is intelligence. You cannot give protection to your family or your society. I beg to apologize on behalf of my student. It's another from a letter. I beg to apologize on behalf of my student, and I shall solicit the pleasure of your goodness to visit our temple regularly. One should not be angry and eat his meals on the floor just because someone has stolen his plate. This is a Bengali saying. The logic is that if one's plates are stolen by a thief, he does not become angry and decide not to purchase new plates and then eat on the floor. Number 50. Prabhupada's personal stamp on ISKCON. Early in ISKCON history, two foolish disciples broke away from the movement and remarked, "This is not the society for Krishna consciousness. It's a society for Prabhupada consciousness." And another disciple replied, "What's wrong with Prabhupada consciousness? The Guru is a representative of Krishna." Prabhupada created the name ISKCON as well as the phrase Krishna consciousness, which he coined from a translation of a verse from Rupa Goswami. He shaped the society in his own personal way. He sometimes said that he never demanded that his disciples wear dhotis, and yet they did. They did because they wanted to follow Srila Prabhupada. A member of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya and a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada wrote his purports after great acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Baladev Vijayabhushan. Yet he was an individual person. Thus, his society, ISKCON, bears his personal stamp. His particular viewpoint, for example, on why his godbrothers did not vigorously follow the order of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and why they did not assist Prabhupada when he began to actually spread the worldwide movement, this viewpoint of the history is adopted by Prabhupada's followers. He intended his personal stamp to last into the future. He worked hard so that things would go on as he had set them up, even after his disappearance. He built temples to last for generations, and he set up a school system intending that it would last as he introduced it. He said that his books would provide the foundation of civilization for 10,000 years. These statements by Prabhupada do not exclude the possibility that other teachers may come and make great contributions, but neither should we overlook the fact that Srila Prabhupada is the only founder acharya of ISKCON. A special favor is found in the Bhaktivedanta flavor. A special flavor is found in the Bhaktivedanta purports, and its essence is savored while its teachings are followed by Prabhupada's Parampara descendants. Specific personal experiences of Prabhupada are found in his purports as he drew examples for his teachings. These are also a part of the accumulated knowledge, which may be called smriti. Smriti means remembrance. So there's Shruti, which are like the original Vedas are called Shruti, and all the writings of the acharyas that came after that are based on the original Vedas. They're called Smriti. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, like that. Do as I am doing, said Prabhupada. It's not that he wanted a cult of personal worship of himself. And because he set the standard for his GBC leaders and others, he wanted his followers to do as he was doing. His intention was that his followers should work together to keep what he gave. He had received the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted that success to be carried out by his followers. He also gave his own example when he said that any one person can go and open a center as he had done, one man alone, lecturing, cooking, playing the mridanga, etc. He also gave his own life as an example when he encouraged his disciples to go to foreign countries and to endure difficulties. He encouraged them by saying he had done the same thing when he had come alone to America. Every devotee has to develop himself to become a spiritual person, and Srila Prabhupada is the best example of that. The Guru is a very personal teacher, and one may differ from another. For example, Srila Prabhupada translated the Nectar of Devotion, and yet, in his personal demonstration of Krishna consciousness, he excluded some of the injunctions in the Nectar of Devotion, saying that they are not practical according to time and place. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada's emphasis on what should be done and what should not be done is an expert selection by an expert acharya. Prabhupada's personal stress on priorities in preaching, such as book printing and distribution, appear not to be simply personal with Srila Prabhupada, and yet they are done his way. Prabhupada wanted that. Srila Prabhupada lived in a very deliberate way as an example, desiring that his followers should do as he did. He also said that his followers should expand beyond what he himself had done. Prabhupada established that a very important aspect of preaching was to defeat the scientists' speculation that life comes from matter. But he left it to his Bhaktivedanta Institute scientist disciples to expand on this instruction and to write books in which the scientists will be defeated in their own scientific terms. Prabhupada encouraged his disciples to paint pictures of Krishna and to become great artists, to build buildings for Krishna and to become great architects and engineers. And all this was done personally under his jurisdiction. The Bhaktivedanta, everyone know what the Bhaktivedanta Institute is?
Where it is?
What it is?
Well, that's where all the books, all these books are, no?
No. Bhaktivedanta Institute is a group of devotees who are also scientists. Bhaktivedanta Institute. And Srila Prabhupada entrusted them to Srila Prabhupada had two big fights against the material scientists. One of the fights was that they claimed that life comes from matter, and the other fight was that the universe came from, it just came about by accident. The Big Bang or some other theory, whatever the latest theory is. So these are both these ideas are very popular in the material scientific realm, and both of them, if you accept them, means that you don't accept God. There's no God, because the Big Bang, it just happened by accident, and just everything just fell together, or the life by some mixture of the chemicals and all this stuff, life developed. Either way, you're saying that there is no God. And so, of course, Srila Prabhupada very much fought against that, because to be an atheist or to believe that there's no God it ruins one's life, human life. So that's the Bhaktivedanta Institute is for that purpose, because as ordinary people, well, I'm an ordinary person. We don't have high education and PhDs and all this in these high material sciences. If we go and start trying to argue with an educated material scientist about those points, we can make our arguments, but they'll have thousands of arguments on their level of language and knowledge to counteract that. So Srila Prabhupada established, he had a number of devotees who were actually in the scientific field, but they became devotees. So he instructed them that you write books, you preach, and you try to convince these material scientists of the truth, at least on those points that the life comes from life, and that the universe actually has a creator, and that there's actually a purpose to the universe. You know that, and just we were reading yesterday. Yesterday, something of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's writings. If you convince they call it the intelligentsia of Krishna consciousness, and others will follow. Usually people tend to follow the scientists and the leaders and all kinds of leaders. Not everyone's a leader. Most people are followers. So most people are followers rather than leaders. So one form of leadership is if you're intellectually a leader, like a material scientist, or another is if you have your PhDs and you have certain other kind of knowledge, or if you're in an administrative position, you're president of the country or the governor or and a teaching position. These are all leadership positions, and the tendency is for most people to follow a good leader. But if the leaders are misleading, then you're a big problem. So in the case of the scientists, they should probably establish that Bhaktivedanta Institute to be able to deal with them directly. We can make some arguments. I can go out and make some argument to a scientist about certain points, the ones that the show probably gives us. But as soon as they start talking in high not philosophical, but scientific terms, then I would be lost. They wouldn't convince me, but I wouldn't be able to really argue directly. So these devotee scientists can argue on that level because they're also on that level. There's centers all over the place. There's probably the main one I think is in Mumbai now. There's one actually in Gainesville. Yeah, we have one center in Gainesville, and the different places around the world. I don't know exactly, but yeah, they're there. Okay, so we're going on to continuing on. Next section 4. Apane achare keha na kare pachara prachara karena keha na karena achara pachara nama namera karaha dui karya tumi sabe guru tumi jagatera arya. Some behave very well, but do not preach the cult of Krishna consciousness, whereas others preach but do not behave properly. You simultaneously perform both duties in relation to the holy name by your personal behavior and by your preaching. Therefore, you are the spiritual master of the entire world, for you are the most advanced devotee in the world. It's from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who are they referring to? I'm not sure, it's either Haridas Thakur or Sanatana Goswami, maybe. But it doesn't say here. Okay, number 1 in this section. In 1972, when Srila Prabhupada was residing at the home of Kartikeya Mahadevya in Bombay, an unusual incident occurred one morning. Prabhupada's secretary, Shyamasundar Das, and servant, Shrutikirti Das, had taken Prabhupada to Chowpatty Beach for his morning walk. Shamasundar had driven them in Mr. Mahadevi's car, one of those black black ambassadors popular throughout India. When they were ready to return, Shamasundar found that he couldn't start the car engine. He fitted the key into the ignition, but the key wouldn't turn. Shamasundar tried jamming, cursing, and forcing the key until he became completely frustrated. It's not going to work, Srila Prabhupada said. No, it's not going to work, Srila Prabhupada, he said. I'll go get a taxi. He dashed out of the car, leaving Srila Prabhupada chanting japa in the back seat with Shruti Kirti. After a few minutes, two Indian gentlemen in suits and ties approached the car, opened the front door, and got in. Shruti Kirti became alarmed, but Srila Prabhupada began a friendly talk with them in Hindi. When the man put his key in the ignition, the car started the car and drove off. Shruti Kirti finally understood what had happened. Shamasundar had led Srila Prabhupada to the wrong car. When the real owners of the black ambassador heard for Srila Prabhupada his explanation, they were honored and insisted driving Prabhupada back to Mr. Mahadevi's. Shruti Kirti tried apologizing for what had happened, but one of the men turned and replied, "Oh no, this is a very nice opportunity for us to do some seva for Swamiji." Srila Prabhupada then began to explain the basis of Krishna consciousness and his worldwide mission, and the men listened attentively. When they arrived at Mr. Mahadevi's building, Srila Prabhupada invited the men up to take some prasadam. No, we have to go to the office, but thank you very much, Swamiji. Yes, thank you, Swamiji. Hare Krishna. After the pleasant incident, Srila Prabhupada remarked to his servant, "This is the difference between India and America. In America, if we had gotten into someone's car, we would have been in great difficulty." Number 2. Usually, Srila Prabhupada accepted devotees for initiation based on the temple president's recommendation. But sometimes he personally interviewed devotees to see if they were fit. At least that seemed to be his intention in Los Angeles when he called Shubhananda Das, Srinath Das, and another devotee into his room in June of 1971 before awarding them their Brahminical initiation. "What is your conception of Krishna?" Srila Prabhupada asked, turning to Shubhananda. "He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead," Shubhananda replied, and he enumerated Krishna's 6 qualities, all strength, all beauty, all knowledge, all wealth, all fame, and all renunciation. "Thank you," said Srila Prabhupada. Then he turned to Srinath and said, "Who is Lord Chaitanya?" Srinath replied confidently, "Lord Chaitanya is the most magnificent incarnation of Krishna." "No," said Prabhupada. Srinath was surprised. Not incarnation. not incarnation, Prabhupada said. He is Krishna himself. At first, Srinath thought to defend himself, remembering how Prabhupada used the word incarnation for Lord Chaitanya in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. But then he realized that he should not argue with the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was correcting and refining his improper understanding. Then Srila Prabhupada briefly explained that there is no difference between Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya. Have you read the Bhagavatam? Prabhupada addressed all 3 of them, and they nodded yes. Have you read the chapter on incarnations and expansions? Again, they nodded and said yes. Krishna is the source of all incarnations and expansions, said Shivananda, and Prabhupada again replied, "Thank you. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada," they said upon leaving. "Jai," Prabhupada replied. Conferring among themselves, the devotees agreed that Srila Prabhupada's requirements seemed very little, They had not been devotees very long, and they had been born and raised in the degraded Western culture. Yet it had been so simple. He had only asked, "Do you know who Krishna is? Do you know who is Lord Chaitanya? How are they different?" It required no great learning or austerities, but faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. Number 3. In July 1976, when Srila Prabhupada visited New Vrindavan, he was feeling ill. The secretary announced that there would be no open meeting that night. It was raining, and Prabhupada stayed in a little house that they had provided. He sat in the living room on a couch while Prajuna Das read to him from Bhagavad Gita as it is. A few other devotees were also in the room. Prabhupada had his hand on his head and he was looking down. Prajuna read for about an hour and Prabhupada said nothing. Everyone present was painfully aware that Prabhupada wasn't feeling well, and they all knew he was being very merciful just to sit with them for a while. Prabhupada's secretary finally said, "Thank you very much for your association, Srila Prabhupada. This is an obvious hint for everyone to leave." "All glories to Srila Prabhupada," said another devotee, and everyone bowed down and prepared to leave. "Any questions?" said Prabhupada. And he lifted his head. Devotees happily sat back down and started asking Prabhupada philosophical questions. One of the questions was about the coming of Kali Yuga. "Go get the Bhagavatam," says Srila Prabhupada. Prajuna began reading a list of the coming calamities of Kali Yuga. At every point, Srila Prabhupada stopped him and gave an explanation. Within a few words, Srila Prabhupada was preaching dynamically, and everyone forgot how sick he had been. He spoke of how Vyasadeva could see the future. Therefore, he predicted that the standard of beauty would be long hair. In the course of their conversation, Srila Prabhupada also praised living at New Vrindavan, the favorite topic of the New Vrindavan devotees. He said that in India, if people live on the banks of a sacred river like the Ganges, they will travel a long distance to go to a tirtha, or a place of pilgrimage. The Ganges River flows through Calcutta, he said, but the people of Calcutta will go all the way to Hardwar to bathe in the same Ganges. Prabhupada assured the New Vrindavan devotees that their place was non-different from Vrindavan, and that they had no need to go on any other pilgrimage. "You are already living in a sacred place." After the rainy night darshan, Radhanath remarked, Prabhupada was saying so many wonderful things. Number 4. Anyone who has heard Srila Prabhupada knows that he's quoting many Sanskrit verses while preaching. But sometimes after preaching, he would murmur a verse or a portion of a verse which might serve as a final comment, a footnote, or merely a sign that his divine grace was absorbed in a chain of Krishna conscious thought. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. Srila Prabhupada might be dealing with someone's personal problems, ISKCON management, or whatever, and the quotation could be viewed as a reminder. Whatever Srila Prabhupada did or said, he was always mindful that he was acting as a servant of Krishna, and that the acharyas in Krishna's disciplic chain. Satsarup Das Goswami recalls being present during one of Srila Prabhupada's ecstatic Sanskrit murmurings. It was in Dallas in 1971, and Srila Prabhupada had been reprimanding Satsarup for different mistakes he had made uh, in the management. They then left the room together to look at the deities of Radhakala Chanji, which were being prepared for installation. As they walked through the hall, Prabhupada murmured, Griheshu Griha Medinam. This was a verse he had lectured on in the morning's Bhagavatam class. But by Prabhupada's murmuring it like a little song, Satsarup felt assured that Prabhupada was completely pure and transcendental, and that his anger was simply meant for his disciples' benefit. Srila Prabhupada took genuine pleasure in quoting Sanskrit verses. Jayadvaita Swami recalls one time with Srila Prabhupada in his room in Brooklyn, when Prabhupada quoted a verse by Rupa Goswami. There was a verse that Prabhupada quoted often, but he quoted it yet again. The devotees could see Prabhupada was relishing a deep, fresh pleasure. So to Srila Prabhupada, it seemed to be another opportunity to associate with Rupa Goswami and serve him by passing on his teachings to others. Prabhupada used to say, I have already given the example many times, several times. This phrase invariably introduced an example that devotees had heard so many times they had long ago lost count. But for Srila Prabhupada, there was no need to invent anything new. The same example was still serviceable, still perfect, still worth quoting yet again. Srila Prabhupada would about his anger. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes show anger, but he would not be under the control of anger. There are different incidents when Srila Prabhupada would, he may, really show anger, and the devotees are getting scared, and like, oh, and then ask him, please, Srila Prabhupada, please, Srila Prabhupada, just give up your anger, and Srila Prabhupada would say, I'm not angry. And it wasn't actually, because we are taught, anger is a material anger. Srila Prabhupada's anger was spiritual. It was for Krishna, for teaching something. It had to express in that way. We're taught, Bhagavad Gita, anger is a result of acting improperly. By contemplating the objects of the senses, one develops attachment. By such attachment, one becomes angry because our sense gratification is being frustrated, and by that anger, our memory becomes bewildered, our intelligence becomes lost, and then we go back down to the mode of ignorance. So that kind of anger is very difficult, very detrimental. But Srila Prabhupada's anger was not like that. He would act angry, but he certainly was not controlled by anger. His anger was not because of some frustrated sense gratification. The one we're trying to not get caught up in anymore is the anger that comes from frustrated material desires. And that, because if we don't cut that, then we will definitely go down. Number 4. Anyone who heard Srila Prabhupada knows that he... Can I read this? Let me read it too. Prabhupada used to say, I've already given you this example several times. I read it. Several. This phrase invariably introduced an example that devotees had heard so many times they had long ago lost count. But for Srila Prabhupada, there was no need to invent anything new. The same example was still serviceable, still perfect, still worth quoting again. Okay, number 5. Letters from disciples. I'm beginning to understand that anything in connection with Srila Prabhupada is truly nectarian. It is his causeless mercy that I have finally found a preaching engagement I am really attached to. Jai Shri Gauranitai, Shri Radha Vijayavihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Vanda Shugade, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. I'll start that again. I'm beginning to understand that anything in connection with Srila Prabhupada is truly nectarian. It is his causeless mercy that I have finally found a preaching engagement I'm really attached to. That is, telling other devotees about the glorious activities of our beloved spiritual master. Every word spoken and step taken by him is a source of pleasure for thousands of devotees around the world. It is Prabhupada alone who can turn wretched lives into something worthwhile. He accepts the most insignificant service as a great deal. While engaged in talking about New Vrindavan during Srila Prabhupada's massage today, I mentioned how we used to do cow artis. At that point, Prabhupada frowned. I asked if they were okay to do, and he said no. I asked if there was anything special to do for the cows. He said, keep them clean, brush them nicely, bathe them, and also you can polish their horns and hooves. Okay. Prabhupada also received your sandesh yesterday, and I put 2 on his plate and last night at his request, along with pineapple and hot milk. He bit into one and said, Kirtanananda Maharaj made first-class sandesh. He then said how sandesh and rasgulla are called Bengali sweets and how they are standard. He has been criticizing LA's making of concocted sweets with puffed rice, carob, powdered milk, food coloring, peanut butter in different combinations that he did not care for. He said, I've given you sandesh, rasgullas, and sweet balls. These are standard sweets and are very good. Why do they go to these different things? So last night I made cheese and turned it into sandesh this morning. I gave him one of the sandesh you had made and one I had made with his lunch. He ate both. When he was finished, I asked him how the sandesh was. His face lit up and he said, did you make them? I told him what I had done, and he said they were very good. I am really happy because they are one of his favorite sweets. Letter by Shrutakirti to Kirtanananda Maharaj, September 27th, 1972. Srila Prabhupada he liked sandesh. When Srila Prabhupada came to the Miami temple back in 1975, I made sandesh for him.
What is sandesh?
Sandesh. Oh, you never eat it because you're vegan. It's made with cheese, paneer. We make the paneer, right? And then you make it very smooth, you can make it so it's smooth and creamy by doing this on the table. Yeah. Yeah, fine. Yeah, you get all the grittiness out of it, and then you mix some sugar and maybe some kind of flavor together, and you cook it. And and it makes it's a nice sweet. We offer to the deities every day here. So we made a sand dish for Srila Prabhupada. It was mango season, so we made mango sand dish. We made it in 6 layers, like plain white sand dish and mango sand dish, white mango, and we put real gold leaf on the top. Gold leaf, no, gold, thin sheets of gold, real gold. We put it on the top. Anyway, he was. I actually wasn't with him when he ate it, but I was told that he usually would only take a little bite of some sweet because he's got a lot. But he ate the whole thing and requested his servant to take it with him to the rest of it with him to the rest of the next destination. So anyway, that was so he just going along with this. He did like sand dish. He liked the traditional India sweets. So going on, here in Madras, this is another letter. Here in Madras, we were seated in Srila Prabhupada's room, and His Divine Grace had just made an inspiring plea for Krishna consciousness. Then a clean-cut European in his 20s exclaimed, "Yes, and then we can become more loving and less angry." His Divine Grace replied, "What is wrong with getting angry?" The boy was startled and stammered, "Well, if we are angry, it's hard to have peace of mind." Prabhupada interrupted and said, "Anyway, that is some speculation. Even Krishna himself gets angry. We are part and parcel of Krishna, and the fact is that Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to make Arjuna angry. Arjuna was not angry when he should have been. The whole Gita was spoken just to make Arjuna angry so he would fight. Similarly, lust. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that karma, according to Dharma, Kama, which means lust. Kama, according to Dharma, I am that lust. Krishna says like that. Or he says, sex life, which is done for religious purposes, he says, I am that, Krishna says. So, that was a letter by Giriraj Swami to Uddhava Das, January 21st, 1971. Number 6. Srila Prabhupada said on farming, on the subject of farming. So take more land and engage them in agriculture, plowing by the bulls instead of tractor. Bulls can be engaged in plowing and transporting nice bullock carts, village to village, for preaching. Make the farm and center, and go 10 miles this side, 10 miles that side, 10 miles this side, etc. with 4 bullock carts. Sell books and preach and live peacefully at the farm. People used to engage the bull for this purpose, so there was no problem which ways to utilize them. First of all, the artificial way should be stopped, and the bulls should be engaged in plowing and transporting and smashing the grains to avoid machinery, petrol, machine oil by nature's way. Regarding the New Orleans farm, do not make sugar. Just boil it and make molasses. You can eat the molasses instead of sugar. Just boil it and keep it until granule forms, and then keep it in the pot. Don't try to make it sugar and sell it. That will simply increase botheration. Just boil it down. We also had in our previous, how many years ago, 30, 40, more than 40 years ago, the Miami Temple, we had some land, and we grew some sugar cane, and we juiced it, and we boiled down like this. We boiled it down to molasses. We call it cane syrup. I'm not sure if there's a difference between cane syrup and molasses, but it was a thick, sweet substance, and we used it as for sweetening for the deities. Yeah, another letter. Yes, if our householders cannot distribute books, then let them live on the farm communities. They can produce thread for the cloth, spinning, and other activities. But they must do something, not sit idly, for an idle brain is the devil's workshop. Another letter. Our cows are happy, therefore they give plenty of milk. Vedic civilization gives protection to all living creatures, especially the cows, because they render such valuable service to the human society in the shape of milk, without which no one can become healthy and strong. In your country, the dog is protected and the cow is killed. Yeah. The cow is passing stool and urine in the street, and he is considered the best friend, and the cow is all pure, stool, urine, and milk, but they are taken to the slaughterhouse and killed for food. What kind of civilization is this? Therefore, you have to preach against all this nonsense. You can live, another letter, you can visit our farm projects in New Vrindavan and the farm in Port Royal, Pennsylvania. They do everything very nicely, and you can develop your brain on that model. Thank you. My mind's somewhere. We read that again. They do everything very nicely, and you can develop your farm on that model. Yes. That you are growing all your grains is very good. It is my ambition that all devotees remain self-independent by producing vegetables, grains, milk, fruits, flowers, and by weaving their own cloth on hand looms. This simple life is very simple. It's very nice, rather. This very simple life is very nice. Simple village life saves time for other engagements, like chanting Hare Krishna, Maha Mantra. That's the whole idea of simple living, high thinking. So we can manage to live. The more simply we can live. And simple living basically really means lack of reduction in sense gratification. Yes. When I was in Frankfurt, around our place, I was happy to see the farms and the cows. Unfortunately, they will kill the cows, so if we organize a farm without killing any cows, that will be a great example in that country. Instead of killing cows, if we let them live, we will get so many nutritional foodstuffs filled with vitamins. I have seen in New Vrindavan how happily our devotees are living there with free air, free vegetables, and ample milk, and simple living cottage. What you want more. We should not neglect the upkeep of the body, and we should save time to chant Hare Krishna. This mission should be propagated. Save time and chant Hare Krishna. Should I read some more? Now? Okay. Okay, so then we'll stop here for right now. And tomorrow Saturday, we'll have Srimad Bhagavatam again tomorrow. Fridays are Srila with Nectar Day. Yeah, we're live streaming everything every day.
is Fridays. It's Prabhupada Nectar would be on Fridays. Like we do Srila Bhagavatam.
And Chaitanya Charitamrita Regional Sunday. Any questions or comments? If you do, speak to the microphone because it'll save me. It'll be heard by the others.
Prabhupada said everything that you did is
No. Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
good.